Hey everybody, how are you? Let me see if I can mess with the lighting a little bit. See if that will make me look a little fresher here. But today is definitely a run and get things done day for me. So I'm coming to you in my all natural state to talk to you about recruiting packets. So this is something that actually I had no idea what a recruiting packet was when I started with Limelight, and it was something that I didn't see a lot of priority in creating. But one of my friends that joined Limelight, one of our leaders and ambassadors, Cindy Lee, had been with another direct selling company for some time, and she was like, we need to put together some kind of an informational packet for people to be able to have in their hands, or for them to go over the information. And so I started looking into what made up a good recruiting packet. And I have put together my best practices for you. I will tell you, this took me a long time to feel like I could share it with other people. It was a lot of work put into it. And I will tell you that it would probably behoove you to create your own introductory letter and to make it more about you, but you certainly don't have to, and you can just download this from the rest of, other than the introductory letter, and I guess there's a 20 reasons to join Limelight that I put together, but I'll tell you what that is for and what the point is. So the first thing I want to talk to you about recruiting packets is one of the challenges today, and I asked you in this original post to wait until you watch this video before you post about having recruiting packets, and here's why. One of the challenges is definitely to create a post about having information to send to people. And I think it's okay to do that every once in a great while, but I think recruiting packets are part of a continued recruiting conversation, not the beginning of the conversation typically. But every once in a while, you got to throw in a curveball and change things up to make sure you hit different personalities and what might speak to people. So that's why I had part of the challenge be to post about having a recruiting packet available. You're not going to call it a recruiting packet. You're going to call it a PDF that you can email to them is what you're going to call it. But so in this recruiting packet, here's what makes the recruiting packet successful. First of all, you're going to have an introductory letter. This letter is short, sweet, to the point, and includes a bulleted list of what else is included in this recruiting packet of information. So basically, I just have a couple of paragraphs about what makes us successful, and that I will be following up. And here's what's in your recruiting packet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The next thing that I think is really powerful in this recruiting packet is this, and this is all going to be backwards, but you can download this. The top 20 reasons to join Limelight by Alcone. Why have something like this in here? Well, because people don't read paragraphs, that's why. And I can raise my hand and say I'm definitely one that doesn't always read paragraphs. So I think having the 20 most obvious reasons that people may join, answers a ton of questions in that list, makes sure that people, get some of the primary reasons that you might join Limelight over maybe another company, or why this particular company is worth taking a look at, and it puts it in a bulleted list, each being one sentence alone. This is really hard for people to... We all want to verbally vomit all over everybody. We all want to say all of the things all of the time. And I'm going to tell you right now, wrap your head around the fact that people only need about 20% of the information in order to make a decision. So we can't give them everything all the time. You're going to have some green personalities that are going to come at you with more and more questions, and you want to give them the opportunity to do that. This list is an open invitation to asking questions and getting more details. For most people, this is enough. They're not going to need, most people, this is going to be plenty of information for them. They're not even going to need the rest of it. So we have to kind of wrap our heads around that. We want to tell them everything because we want them to make a decision, and we want them to join us right away. But when we do that, we lose them most of the time. All right. So this is all from your back office. The next is a personal commission structure sheet. And this basically is going to give them the bare bones of how you make money with Limelight. If you sell this much, you make this much, and here's the bonuses that you make. These, this is short for the most part, sweet and to the point, and I think that it is plenty of information, and I don't think you really need more to continue this conversation about recruiting. Then you've got your career plan at a glance. This printed funky for me, of course, so I'm gonna have to play with that. But this is especially good for, well, all people are gonna need this eventually. And this isn't gonna make sense to everybody. But this is especially good for people that have been in direct sales before. They have seen this before. They have seen this in their own companies before, and they're going to look through to see what it's going to take for them to get to the next level. Good to have that in there. And here's the other thing. Really, nobody understands the entire compensation plan until they've had an opportunity to walk through it. So I want you to take the pressure off of yourself to think you have to have all of the answers and know the compensation plan backwards, forwards, inside, and out. All right, next is Fast Start program. Fast Start is probably one of the most important things to get in front of your new recruits' faces right away. It has been proven that those that hit Fast Start go up. Those that most people that end up at the top of a company, they Fast Start. So Fast Start information lets them know that they should be setting some goals right away. And then the last page is this really nice page about that corporate put together about joining us. And basically, here's how you join: step 1, step 2, step 3. So what I do when I'm having a conversation with somebody about joining is I will say to them, usually the ball is already rolling and we're already having a conversation. And then I'll say, do you want me to send you some information about, like, when stuff about the compensation plan or how you get paid comes up? I'll ask if they want me to send information. I will then ask if they want me to send it in the mail or via email. I will say most people prefer the email at this point. We're kind of a digital world, so I will just send this. But if I really want them, if it's somebody that I really want to invest in, then I get the big guns out. I get out a folder, usually one that has my little card pocket in here. I throw in a catalog, and then a lot of times I'll have some various other information that I'll stick in there, and I will send this in the mail regardless. There is something about having something in your hands and opening it up that really makes something very real. So I would encourage you, if you're not sending out recruiting packets, I will later today post some bonus material, which is a Facebook, an Amazon.com list of the materials that I use for recruiting packets. So it's also good to have at your home parties. If somebody expresses some interest, you can hand these to them and say, hey, take a look at this. Maybe this would interest you. It's good to have at vendor shows when people are looking at looking at the opportunity or expressing some kind of interest. All of that. So take a look at that. Look at getting those and putting those together. It's really nice to hand people something that they can open. But my best practices for you would be to include it as part of the conversation, and don't make it only the conversation. Don't make it the conversation that you have. Don't send people just the information and expect them to get it or to join, or it has to be, and it shouldn't be necessarily the first part of the conversation. But with that said, part of today's challenge is to post about, hey, if you wanted some information, I can shoot you some really quick, some no obligation information in an email really quick. I think doing that every now and again, and here's the thing, you guys have to be willing to change. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. We often keep doing things the same way we've always done them, and we don't expect and we expect something different to happen. you've got to change things up every now and again. People are constantly asking me, what's the best way to talk to a recruit? What do you say to a hairstylist that might want to join? You have got to get out of your head that there's a script for anything. You have to. You have to learn, and you can do this, you have to learn to develop conversation based on what people are telling you. You have to learn to read people. When people are talking to you, when you're looking at their Facebook posts, you have to learn to kind of distinguish who they are and what they have going on, and then learn how to adapt your conversation to them. So if they're always talking about not having money, you know that this person needs to make more money. If they're always talking about being stuck at work or hating their job, you know that they hate their job. If they got little kids, you can probably assume that they would want more time with their kids if they're working a full-time job. You know, you've kind of got to watch what people have going on and learn how to develop the conversation around them. It's all about relationship building. And you're right, Anna, a script will never work. It will never yield the results because you're not developing a conversation. Nobody wants the telemarketer to get on the phone and read the script. When you can hear the paper shoveling in the background or clicking on the computer because they're trying to find the answer that goes with what you just said, it's really inauthentic. You owe it to people to have a direct conversation and to have an authentic relationship building conversation. So that means if it takes, I just recruited somebody onto my team that I have literally been talking to for over a year. Over a year. We have been I see her once a month in person. She's told me multiple times she's going to join. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And it took a year of talking to her before she was ready to join. It took a year of her gaining my trust. That's what it took. It has to come authentically. It has to be a part of relationship building. You can't just put a target on somebody's back and say, I'm going to recruit this person. Sometimes it happens that way. Sometimes you're like, well, I'm going to start liking Susan's posts and I want Susan to join. And sometimes Susan will join. And sometimes you will work your butt off for a year or 2 years or maybe even longer. I had a meeting last night with a customer that has been my customer since day one. She's literally has our entire line. And she finally was like, you know what? I think I might want to join. Do you have some information for me? And she came down to my studio and we had a chat. You know, you've got to let these relationships build themselves out. It's really no different than what Lindsay said about dating your downline. About, you know, some people decide they're going to marry each other in 2 months, and some people wait 20 years to get married. Every relationship is different. And you've got to, Laura has said this several times, you have got to distance yourself, disassociate yourself with the result. You're here in this group to learn how to be a lead beauty guide. For some of you, this 3 weeks is all you're going to need. For some of you, you're going to need another year of working on this stuff and of getting consistent with this kind of stuff and getting your network to love and trust you. That's just how it is. You cannot compare yourself to anybody else along the way. And you have to take time and learn your craft, learn your business, learn this industry. And part of our challenge later this week, which brings me to this, is to read the book, The 4-Year Career. I've never read something more direct, honest, and just forthright about how you can make money in direct sales. The facts are the facts, and this book takes all of the facts and puts them right in front of your face. So if you haven't downloaded that yet, you can certainly do that. It takes about 2 hours to listen to on Audible, or you can read the book. Most people can read it in a few hours. It's a very simple read, but it is a game changer. And it's one of those things that if people come to me and they say, why isn't this working for me? I will literally say, have you read The 4-Year Career yet? And they will say, no. And I will say, we'll talk after you read that. You've got to know your industry. You have to know your industry and know what you're up against in order to meet the challenge. That's just the facts. And all these tools that we're giving you are going to help you do that. So it is hard to compare sometimes, Jennifer. I agree. But every moment that you spend in your head comparing yourself, The 4-Year Career is the name of it. It's by Robert Blissbrook, I think. Robert Blissbrook? Something Blissbrook. Anyway, it'll be posted so you can take a look at it. And there is a version of it called The 4-Year Career for Women. And either one is fine. Read whichever one you want to. But every moment that you spend in your head or comparing yourself to other people or having a moment and a pity party, every single moment that you spend there is a moment that you are not focusing on your own business and your own growth. Every minute. So you can have your pity party, but the longer you stay in it, the longer your road gets ahead of you for you to go. It's literally walking backwards in quicksand. It totally is. And that's what separates people that make it in this industry from people that don't, is people that are willing to move past that, put their blinders on, you go on your path, you take your journey and you run with it. So I didn't mean to do so much preaching today, but I am, because I'm getting a lot of messages about people apologizing because they're getting behind. Richard Blissbrook. Yes. I think I said Robert. Richard Blissbrook. People are in their heads like, oh, I committed to doing this and now life has gotten in the way and I'm behind. And I'm like, why are you spending time talking to me about this? Stop apologizing. Pick up where you left off. We've been telling you from moment one that you don't have to keep up, that you can do this at your own pace, that this group will be here forever, that we've already told you that this is available for you to run with as you can. And that's all you need for a commitment. That might mean you come back next week. Might mean you take a day off. It might mean that you have other priorities. This group may not be your priority all of the time, but it might be. You know, you've got to be okay with it. You know, we've got to learn as women to stop apologizing for just doing what we need to do to get by. We've got to learn that. It's not worth it. It's not. So that's why self-development is so important, because the more you learn about your career, about your industry, the more you learn about yourself and about growth and about leadership and about handling your shit. The more you learn about all of that, the better you become at it. And a lot of times we just sit there and spin our wheels and we don't take that time and that space and that energy. So, all right, that's all. That's all I have for today. Thank you so much for being a part of this group. I'm excited for all of you. I hope you all are enjoying the information. Take it at your pace. But really, we're trying to not make any day be more than an hour. You're probably working on your business for an hour anyway, right? Well, we just gave you a roadmap. So most of the links are updated. As of last night, I do have to update links today, and I will be getting on that ASAP. I have a customer to call back before that. So anyway, I'll see you later. Have a good night. Day. Bye.